Okay, this is week 7. We're going over chapter 6, programming exercise 34 on page 372, swat the bug, or swat the bugs. This assignment goes over opening up the debug solution in chapter 6 and debugging the application. As always, put your project information at the top. Once you open it, option explicit, strict, and infer. Explicit and strict on, infer off. And let's look at the main form here. The user is supposed to start the application up, click on the enter integers button. It pops up an input box and displays how many positive integers, negative integers, and zeros were entered in. Also on the prompt, it's supposed to click cancel to end. This application logic is incorrect though. Let's look at the button click real quick before we get started. It has a button click code here. The commenting in this one is displaying the number of positive numbers, number of negative numbers, and number of zeros entered. You have a constant string prompt. This says enter an integer, period, click cancel to edit to end. We'll see that in just a second. Declaring 5 variables, int numbers string, numbers integer, positive counters integer, negative counters integer, and zero counters integer. This line here, input box in VB is just that. It's a box that will pop up. This first argument is what will be in the box for the user to enter in. In fact, if we do a backspace left parentheses, there's our arguments for this input box. You have a prompt as string. This gets or sets the value. Then comma. The title of the input box, and then finally the default value in the input box, in this case is going to be 0. So that will be prompted to the user to enter an integer. It will go into the input number. While input number is not equal to empty string, it's going to continually loop unless they have hit cancel. Then it'll be empty string. It does a try parse of that number and converts it to an integer. And then it determines in this if else statement in what category it falls in. If the number is greater than 0, it's going to be a positive number, and it's going to be incremented here. Else, if the number is less than 0, it's going to be a negative number, incremented here, and then else 0, incremented there. So let's go ahead and run it first, and then we'll go over the incorrect logic that's in this right now. I'm going to put a couple breakpoints here, and here. Start the application. Enter integer. I'm going to put 2 in. Integer number is 2. While integer number is not equal string, now it should go within the do while loop. Does a try parse. Number is now 2. While if number is greater than 0, it's not going to go to the next line. Positive number equals number plus 3. Number is 2 plus 1 is 3 on the first loop. Next time it goes around, let's put a stop here. Still 3 on the next time. Let's see what it is after the 3rd time. Still 3. So this is going to continually loop and never stop the way it is right now. Let's look at the code and see what we can do to change it. The logic for the do while loop is do while an argument is true. In this case, do while input number is not equal to string. So while it's not equal to string, it's going to continually loop. While it's not equal to string.empty, it's going to continually loop, meaning you've entered something in. The problem is, after they get into the do while loop, they're not prompted again to enter another number. Thereby, it's going to continually loop over and over again. That's the first problem. Second problem is, this is always going to be 3 each time because it's taking and doing a wrong increment. Right now, it's doing a positive counter, which by default is going to be 0, equals number plus 1. If you enter the number 2 in, this will always be 3. It will always be 3. So it's not going to increment it. Same thing with if it hit below 0, if it's a negative number, this would always be whatever that negative number is each time. Same with the 0. If it was a 0, it was going to be 0 plus 1. This 0 counter would always be 1. Okay? So to fix it, what we got to do is we've got to add a correct increment. So I'm going to comment that line out and bring in the correct increments. Positive counter plus equals 1. What that's going to do is it's going to increment correctly the positive counter by 1 each time it's hit. Next one, negative counter plus equals 1. And then finally 0 counter plus equals 1. And we need to add an input box so the user has the opportunity to input another number while it's in the do while loop. If they hit exit on this one or cancel, it's going to come back after that cancel time and come back here. The string's going to be empty and it's going to come down here and display the information once the cancel button's been hit. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put some breakpoints in here real quick. We'll put all 3 of these numbers, and we'll also put a breakpoint here. Okay, let's go ahead and start the app. 2. There's our positive counter. Now it's 1 for positive counter. We'll put 3. Let's put another 3. This time positive count right now is 1. Now we're going to go to 2. Now I'll do a negative number. I'll do a -1. Notice now this number is less than 0. Now -1 is currently 0 until we hit the increment. Now it's going to be 1. And 0. Right now it's 0. Then it's 1. Once the increment's added, we'll add to do another 0. Now it's 1. We'll step into it. Now it's 2. One last time. This time we're going to hit cancel to end. Notice when we cancel to end, the while loop did now come out of the while loop, and it's now going to display positive counter 2, negative counter 1, 0 counter 2. And that's how to correct the debug application for week 6, or week 7, I'm sorry, for chapter 6. And again, just to recap, for code debugging, there's no, this is really a logic error in the application, which happens a lot in programming. And incrementing is easily done by this right here, a plus equal. If we were to decrement a count, we would do a negative equals. That would decrement the count. But plus equals increments. Now you could also do it this way. You could also do positive counter equals positive counter plus 1. We could do this negative counter equals negative counter plus 1, and then finally 0 counter equals 0 counter plus 1. It can be done this way as well. I'm going to go ahead and take all the breakpoints out just to show you. Do a couple positive integers. Do 3 positive, we'll do 3 negative. Three zeros, hit cancel. There we go. So we've done that as way as well. So this is just a longer way to do it, but it does the same thing as the plus equal. Okay? So that concludes week 7 for debugging application. As always, you can email me in the course conference or email within Eagle, or chat with me when you see me online. Have a great week.